feel the need to focus on other people. Feel the need to focus on other people and what other people do. And I'm certain that some of us have been stewing. Holidays come around and we go through stuff. We go through stuff and we feel a need to express stuff when this stuff has nothing to do with you. We talk about all this stuff and how, Ahlul Kitab, they're all this stuff. What does that have to do with you? What does that have to do with you and your deen? You and your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has absolutely nothing to do with you. Lakum dinukum waliya din. We get all twisted up and when we get all twisted up and we're angry, then we forget that we're supposed to be human and compassionate, even to those who we disagree with. I don't have to agree with you on everything, but I still owe you compassion and mercy. That same compassion and mercy that we expect from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even on our worst days. We find it difficult to extend that to other people. Their shortcomings, their inability to see what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has shown you. And we're quick to cut people off. I'm not speaking to my family because you don't have that right. As a matter of fact, that's against your deen. Because cutting off your family ties is not something that that's a kabira. That's a major sin. That's a major sin. Unless somebody's doing something to you that is affecting your life, your survival as a human being, you can't cut your people off because your people celebrate Christmas. I'm going to share a couple of things with you today, and I promised myself today that I wasn't going to keep you long. I'm really trying to be more mindful of time. There's a few traditions that I'm going to share with you today, and the first is a hadith that you may have heard before, which is narrated by Abi Hurairah radiyallahu anhu. He says that the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was in his mosque, and that the companion Al-Aqra' ibn Habis was present there. And present as well was Al-Hasan ibn Ali ibn Abi Talib radiyallahu anhuma, his grandson. And that the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam kissed Al-Hasan, showed him some love. And Al-Aqra' ibn Habis radiyallahu anhu, when he saw this, he made the following statement, that I have 10 boys. Allah has blessed me with 10 sons, and I have never kissed any of them. So the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam took this opportunity as a teachable moment. And he addressed Al-Aqra' ibn Habis and he said, whosoever does not demonstrate mercy will receive none. If you cannot demonstrate mercy to other people, you will receive none. Now you may look at this hadith and say that, well, the statement that the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam made was directly in reference to Al-Hassan, his grandson, and Al-Hassan was Muslim. So we have to demonstrate mercy and compassion to Muslims only. Well, the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in another hadith, narrated by Jarir ibn Abdullah radiyallahu anhu, he said that the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whosoever does not demonstrate mercy to people in general, man la yarhamu nas, he didn't say man la yarhamu muslimin. He didn't say whosoever does not demonstrate mercy and compassion to Muslims and everybody else we can do whatever with. That's not what he said. If you do not demonstrate mercy and compassion, the same mercy and compassion that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala demonstrates to you when you fall all the way off, when you have those dark days when you're questioning whether or not you're Muslim or not, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not instantly take your soul and punish you. See, because this faith, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in control of that. As the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam tells us that a person will rise in the morning as a believer and retire in the evening as a disbeliever. That your faith fluctuates like that. It's fluid like that. Your job is to do the work. But you can't do the work if you're arrogant. You can't do the work if you've placed yourself on this pedestal and you lord over other people and you look down on everybody you come to contact with. There's no doing no work when your heart is in that condition. The Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whosoever cannot demonstrate mercy and compassion to people, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not demonstrate mercy and compassion to him. No matter who you think you are, no matter what you think you're about, if you can't demonstrate mercy and compassion to other people, you will get none. The Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and both of those hadiths are in Bukhari and Muslim. He also said, Ar-Rahimuna yarhamuhum ar-Rahman, that those who demonstrate mercy and compassion, the merciful and the compassionate will demonstrate mercy to them. Irhamu man fil ard, demonstrate mercy and compassion to those who inhabit the earth. Irhamu man fil ard, demonstrate mercy and compassion to those who inhabit the earth. Now, it's ironic today that I chose this topic, and literally right before I came over here, there's this news flash that there's some tourists in Cairo on their way to the pyramids, and y'all know the rest of the story. You know the rest of the story. I don't have to tell you how this story ends. You already know how it ends. That's shaitan. That's shaitan. That's misguided people. That's this message that I'm better than, which is a shaitanic message. I'm better than, which is a shaitanic message. أنا خير منه خلقتني من نار وخلقته من طين. The shaitan addressing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded him to bow to Adam, and a shaitan said, what? I'm not doing that. I am better than him. You created me from fire, and you created him from what? I'm not doing that. Arrogance is dangerous, brothers and sisters. It's dangerous. The work that we all have to do in order for us to be like Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The example, one of the examples I just gave you. But I'm going to give you another example. A man came to the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam and he said, "O Messenger of Allah, I am struggling to come to prayer. I am struggling to come to prayer. Why am I struggling to come to prayer? Because Fulan, who leads us in prayer, extends the prayer. I want to come and pray. I come to pray. And he's reciting these long surahs, and it's like, I can't come to the masjid." So the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam became extremely angry. The companions said that he became so angry, they have never seen him that angry before. And he said the following: "Ayyuhan nas inna minkum munaffirun." He said, "O people, some of you are chasing people away from their faith. Inna minkum munaffirun, faman salla bin nasi falyukhaffif." If you lead someone in prayer, then you should do what? You should shorten the prayer. You should be considerate of other people. And he said you should be considerate of other people because perhaps there may be someone that is sick. There are people that are weak. There are the elderly. And there are people that simply have other things to do. Now, although the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in this instance was speaking to prayer, but this goes way beyond prayer. And often when it comes to faith, we have this tunnel vision. When it comes to us understanding our deen, we have this tunnel vision. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is speaking about prayer and shortening prayer, and that's all this means. No, it's not all it means. It's not all that it means. Because the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam is speaking about an attitude. And that attitude is that when it comes to us and our relationship with other people, that we are oppressive. Can't be oppressive. When you're doing your own thing, do what you got to do. And even then, the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his sunnah is for you not to oppress yourself. When he tells you don't fast all the time. Don't deprive yourself of things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made permissible for you. In the name of righteousness. I pray all night, I get no sleep, I pray all night. Your body has rights. I'm not going to eat certain things. Your body has rights. Don't oppress yourself. And likewise, do not oppress other people. You have a right to do that. And often when it comes to deen, we do that. In the name of deen, I got to be hard. Brother comes to you for advice. You give him this advice where it's impossible for him. Your deen is, the purpose of your faith is for you to be able to navigate life. Not to be an obstacle and a hindrance. That's why the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Yassiru wa la tu'assiru, wa bashiru wa la tunaffiru." Make things easy for people. Somebody comes to you, "Listen, I have this problem. What should I do?" Oh, well, I don't know what to tell you. Brother came to me last week, and this has been bothering me all week. Imam, listen, I have a question. It's a brother that passed away in another city. And his family is from Philadelphia, and they're shipping him back to Philadelphia to have a janazah. But his community in the other city, wanted to have a janazah for him. So they had a janazah for him. So the brother is brought back to Philadelphia. Family asked a brother, is it permissible for us to have another janazah, have a janazah for our loved one? The answer that they gave was no. Now, I want you to think about this for a minute. See, we're trying to do deen, but there's no understanding. How are you going to tell? How in good consciousness can I tell someone that they can't pray for their loved one? How can I tell you that? And that rests well with me. That I told you that you can't pray for your loved one. Now I'm telling you this in the name of deen. We do these things in the name of, as we call it, we're doing deen. But we're not demonstrating any compassion. Where's the compassion? Where's the rahmah? Where is it? The way the Prophet, the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described this fraternity of brotherhood between the Muslims and how it's supposed to be. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, A'udhu billahi min ash-shaytanir rajeem, Muhammadur Rasulullah. وَالَّذِينَ مَعَهُ أَشِدَّاءُ عَلَى الْكُفَّارِ رُحَمَاءُ بَيْنَهُم. Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. And those who are with him, they stand their ground with regards to their faith when it comes to the non-believers. And amongst themselves, they demonstrate mercy and compassion. Where's the mercy and compassion? And often we do this to each other. We beat each other up. We chase each other away from the masjid. If a person walks into our space, messed up, tore up, they walk into our space, they don't look the way that we think they should look. And often our engagement with them is one of what I mentioned earlier of arrogance. Oh, you're put together, Fulan. You're put together, you got it together, and Fulan comes in stumbling, looking for mercy and compassion, be it a brother or a sister, because a sister can walk in, her hijab may not be right, she may not have hijab on, her clothes may not be right, and then while we go through our stuff, we go through the looks, the judgment, all that stuff, and what ends up happening is the person walks out that door and never comes back. You did that. You can't blame that on nobody else. You did that. Now imagine if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did that to you. We mess up every day. Every day. Every day you do something, you say something that you had no business saying. You have these thoughts that cross your mind that you know better. Now imagine if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took that stance with you. You cross his lines all the time. Now imagine if you cross the line, you come to him, man, get out of here. I have no time for you. You're a sinner. Look at you. Look at you. You can't keep it together. You can't stand up straight. You don't know what direction you're going in. And you're coming asking me for mercy. We're on that pedestal, brothers and sisters. We got that rahmah. See, when the Prophet ﷺ said that, in response, see again, the admonishment, him speaking to the Sahaba and telling them that when you lead prayer, he's talking about this. He's not just talking about prayer. He's talking about how you live your life, how you engage with your Muslim brothers and sisters, how you engage with your non-Muslim family members, how you engage with your co-workers, how you engage with society. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells you in the Quran, he tells Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Ud'u ila sabili rabbika bil hikmah, use some wisdom. Wal maw'izatul hasana, and kind word. Kind word. So we can't do damage in the name of deen and expect good results, because nothing good comes from that. Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was our example. And if you examine his seerah, you will find nothing but compassion and mercy. Nothing but compassion and mercy. And if we say, we're quick to say that, we're following the sunnah of the Prophet, or the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was to be compassionate and merciful. That was his sunnah. That was his sunnah. And if you're not clear about that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the Quran, where he reminds him about his demeanor, how Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was, how he was with people. And he reminds him, وَلَوْ كُنْتَ فَضًّا غَلِيظَ الْقَلْبِ لَانْفَضُّوا مِنْ حَوْلِكَ. If you were that person that was on this pedestal and you engaged with people where all they got from you was arrogance, meanness, harshness, you wouldn't have anybody around you. That was not Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Even with the kuffar, even with the man that walked into the masjid, the A'rabi, the Bedouin, walked into the masjid and urinated in the masjid, desecrated Allah's house. The Sahaba wanted his head, but the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam do? He sent for some water. He didn't even address the man. He sent for some water. He didn't come and say, Fulan, well, what are you doing, man? None of that. He sent for some water. We got to show each other some love, and lots of it. When we're giving da'wah, when we're engaging with one another. You always hear us talk about the work that we have to do, and that work never ends. And that work is real. And if anyone is disillusioned about where they are spiritually, you're disillusioned. If you think that somehow you're on this pedestal and everyone else is beneath you, Brother Fulan calls you for assistance, give me some advice, talk to me, I need to hear a kind word, and you belittle the person, you beat him up. I don't need you to beat me up. I'm already hurting. But you want to beat me up and tell me what I'm doing wrong. I know what I'm doing wrong. Encourage me to do right. Or the person that comes to you asking for assistance. And you can't find it in your heart to give that person some assistance. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you and you forgot. Allah gave you and you forgot. Your deen is about mercy and compassion, brothers and sisters. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes himself as Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. When you begin the recitation of his book, you repeat that. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. There is no recitation of the Quran without that. Demonstrates the importance of compassion and mercy, brothers and sisters. And without it, you have no faith. Without it, you have no faith. And without mercy and compassion, you are lost, whether you realize it or not. What's worse is if you don't realize it. So if you don't realize that I'm mean and I'm arrogant, then can't no one help you. Can't no one help you. Prophet ﷺ has said, no one with an ounce of arrogance will enter Jannah. That's your work right there. That's my work right there. When you hear me say that we have work to do, I got to work on me. Where I'm at, the test that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala placed before me in the form of blessings, in the form of ni'mah. And ni'mah comes in a range of ways. That's a test. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that he tests you with good and bad. And they're both fitna. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed you and you're good, that's a fitna for you. And when he hasn't given to you the way you think that he should have given to you, or he tests you in a way that may cause you some discomfort, that's a fitna for you as well. So your work is never done. Don't assume simply because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala isn't testing you the way you think a test looks like, you're being tested. That is your test. Your job is to keep yourself on the path and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to keep you on the path and beg Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for his forgiveness and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to plant some seeds of mercy and compassion in your heart. And ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to aid and assist you in treating people with dignity and respect. And ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect you from shaitan and his influence. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله العظيم لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين والمسلمات من كل ذنب واستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على نبيه الكريم وبعد. Brothers and sisters, in conclusion, as I always do, brothers and sisters, and I always say this, be good to you. Invest in yourself, and investing in you means that you're investing in your akhirah. And you investing in your akhirah means a lot of things. Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. And taking care of yourself does not necessarily just mean that you're eating right and that you're getting proper exercise. But you're taking care of your heart. Take care of your spiritual. Take care of your spiritual. I referred you today to 2 verses from Surah Al-Kahf. Please read them and reflect on them. If you cannot muster reading the entire surah, no problem. If you can only read those 2 verses, those 2 verses will do you a tremendous amount of good. Spend some time connecting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Spend some time asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for His forgiveness. He's giving you time. Use that time wisely. ألا وصلوا على سيد المرسلين وإمام المتقين فقد أمركم الله بذلك في كتاب العزيز فقال جل من قائل إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما ويقول عليه أفضل الصلاة والتسليم من صلى علي مرة صلى الله عليه بها 10 اللهم صل وسلم وبارك وأنعم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين وسلم تسليما كثيرا. عباد الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون فاذكروا الله العظيم الجليل يذكركم واشكروه على نعمه يزدكم وذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون وأقيموا الصلاة فإن الصلاة تنهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر.